Okay, guys, welcome back to a new video here. I got a pretty interesting development. Ben Shapiro coming out pretty viciously attacking Donald Trump over his Qatari plane bribe, where he basically took a $400 million Qatari jet for a gift, just a random gift. I'm sure there's no sort of conditions on that gift. Yeah, okay. And the thing that's super, and we're going to play the clip of Shapiro talking about this. The thing that's super interesting about this gift, it comes at the same time where the president is on his Middle East trip where he's made a number of interesting trips in Saudi Arabia, where he stopped, where he's basically calling Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, a great friend of his, very, very, very close. And it's also comes at the same time where we're seeing a lot of critiques from the administration, from Steve Witkoff in general, criticizing the Israeli government, which is the first time we've really seen that. And the president's also made a number of major policy positions and statements, specifically on Syria, lifting all sanctions on Syria, which is a major, major step. He met with the Syrian leader Al Jolani in Turkey, I believe it was, or Saudi Arabia, which is obviously a major, major deal, and lifting sanctions for the first time in years. And and listen, I've been very critical of the president, but I think you have to give him credit on this front. The president lifting sanctions on Syria, it at least gives them a chance to potentially rebuild. And it might not work, but you have to try something. Jelani seems relatively close to he's open to negotiations with the West. So you got to give it a try. And I give the president credit to that. Again, is it because maybe he took a bribe from a lot of these Islamist leaders who maybe said, okay, as a condition, you got to do some things you want? Maybe, maybe so. But there's no question that's a good policy decision, I think, for the short term. And he is in a lot of talks. There's no question he loves the luxury of this. He's in Qatar. He's in Saudi Arabia. They're giving him these ridiculous sort of like a king. There's camels on his sides, and knowing Trump, he loves the luxury of all this. Okay, and there's no question Shapiro's right in his criticism here, which we're going to show, where he's basically ripping him for taking in a Qatari jet. Like, dude, that's insanely corrupt. But his criticism, I wonder if it's misplaced or the actual reasons for his criticism. It's corrupt. It's insane. And by the way, guys, I thought originally this Qatari jet he was taking in, I thought, okay, it would replace Air Force One and it would remain with the U.S. government, which would be bad enough. But no, 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 I was wrong. Not only is he going to be using the plane, once he leaves office, he gets to keep the plane. So they would have to get in a new Air Force One entirely anyway. So his entire argument, oh, it's going to save money for the government, it's ridiculous because they would have to make another Air Force One anyway. It's insane. Not to mention the security problems this thing probably has. Totally ridiculous. And it's a joke. It's just blatant corruption. I mean, it's honestly an impeachable offense, but nothing really matters anymore. And you're even seeing criticism from the Republicans on this, even like Ted Cruz, for example, but it's very mild. Obviously, if the Biden administration was doing this, they would absolutely destroy this guy. They would rip him to shreds. They would call him an Islamist, a Hamas lover, blah blah blah. All the rhetoric they would use. But if it's Trump, they don't care because again, they don't care about anything. It's not about actual policy. So here's a clip, and we'll talk about it after. Ben Shapiro ripping Trump. And guys, make sure to like and hit that subscribe button. Super important for the algorithm. Drop a comment as well. My Patreon and Amazon link are in the description, so check that out. Thanks for watching. Here's a clip of Ben Shapiro ripping Donald Trump.
A super luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar. It is a $400 million gift available for use by President Trump as new Air Force One until shortly before he leaves office, at which time, according to the deal, the plane doesn't stay with the United States government. It then moves to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation, taking sacks of goodies from people who support Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Al Jazeera, all the rest. That's not America first. Like, please define America first in a way that says you should take sacks of cash from the Qatari royals who are behind Al Jazeera. It just isn't America first in any conceivable way. So back to the original question. Is this good for President Trump? Is it good for his agenda? Is it good for draining the swamp and getting things done? The answer is no, it isn't. It isn't. If you want President Trump to succeed, this kind of skeezy stuff needs to.
Okay, and again, I think it's interesting for a number of reasons. Is he correct in the overall criticism that it's corrupt, that he's taking a private jet and it's wrong? Of course, it's obviously insane that he's doing that. But what are the motivations behind what he's saying here? I mean, he talks about Qatar as being a terrorist-run state, basically funding Hamas, Iran, and all these other terror organizations. And okay, maybe that is true. And they kind of play both sides. But let's be honest, Qatar also hosts U.S. military air bases there, which obviously the Iranians are not fans of whatsoever. So it's kind of complicated in the sense that Qatar is just, oh, they're just Hamas supporters. Okay, they kind of play both sides. It's not as simple as Shapiro is making it seem. But of course, if you're a strong Israel supporter, you're not going to like this. But that is really where the criticism comes from, I think. Is it really the corruption that is issue, or is it because Trump is aligning with these Islamist countries, it seems, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and he's speaking very interestingly about Iran recently, saying he's hoping for a deal, which obviously many of the hard right hawks are not a fan of whatsoever. So again, you have to question the motivations with this. And this comes at the same time, guys, where Trump is not going to Israel on his Middle East trip, which is raising a lot of eyebrows. This comes at the same time where Steve Witkoff, Trump's Middle East envoy, is criticizing Israel for basically not looking to end the war here, which the Trump administration is reportedly pushing for. In fact, they're actually opening up another front in the Gaza Strip as soon as this weekend, which is kind of insane to think about when you realize what's actually been done there so far. It's beyond belief. But it seems like that war is going to be resuming as if it ever ended. I mean, there's still no food coming into the Gaza Strip over the past 10 weeks, which is beyond insane. But this is where we're at right now. And the Israelis are not happy with Trump. And the Israelis are not happy with the Iranian negotiations that are going on with the United States. They think a deal is going to get done, according to sources. There's speculation it could be deception by the administration, maybe to do a surprise attack on Iran. You can't rule that out. But if the reports that are out there right now are true, the Israelis are not happy with the Americans because they're looking for a deal which the Israelis do not want, which is obviously creating tension. And someone like Ben Shapiro, what does he want? He wants the Americans to bomb the nuclear facilities. He does not like these negotiations. So he's obviously not happy with Trump. And you have to wonder, is that why he's going after him and criticizing him now? Is it really over the corruption? Because Trump has had miles and miles of corrupt things, like the meme coin scandal, taking tens of billions of dollars from Miriam Adelson, for example, Sheldon Adelson, just to name a few. And he didn't have any sort of problem with that. But only in this case is where he has the real problem. So that's super interesting. And guys, it's just to be clear, he's correct in the overall argument. It's obviously insane to be taking in a $400 million luxury palace from Qatar. It's insane to make it Air Force One. And he's going to keep it afterward, which is just beyond belief. Not to mention the security concerns behind this are probably through the roof. I mean, it could be bugged, it could be tampered with. I mean, again, it's not likely, but it's certainly a possibility you're not going to risk. I mean, it's just the entire thing's insane. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think about this, guys. But Ben Shapiro going after Trump for the first time in a while, pretty hard on this. I mean, very interesting stuff. So let me know what you guys think about this. Again, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, subscribe. Patreon and Amazon link are in the description as well. So check that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.